It has always been my desire to do another TV show after the Better Life TV show, which I hosted in Bamenda in 2001. Shine Africa stands on the foundation of Time with Mirabel, which I started working on full-time in 2013. As soon as I got the vision, I contacted some people about the name because I wanted it for the name to look like kind of tell my story, or tell the story of the African child, and also tell the story of Africa in general. So I got to Never Stanley Musang and also to Aziz Debel, and they were so encouraged, and finally we got the name. With the name, I now needed to contact a studio, which I did, and they gave me an estimate of the cost, how much it was going to cost me to do a talk show like the one I told them I was going to do. And then it took me 2 other years to get ready. It took me from 2013 to 2015 when I thought I was ready. So I got in contact with, I needed some more people on board. I got in contact with a renowned film director, Neba Lawrence, who was so amazed by the idea, and he became my driving force, pushing me through difficult moments.
Yeah, it was in January 2013 when she called me and said, "Hey Lawrence, there is this show I want us to do." And I was like, okay. She came over, presented the concept to me. I went through it. The concept was fabulous. He had this charitable undertone, and then the confidence and the belief she had in the show actually drove something into me that made me to say, okay, why not give it a try? And then she kept walking, and in 2015, sometime around May, she came back to me and said, hey, I'm ready, let's do what we talked about 2 years ago. And that's how we went into it, gathered the crew, gathered the team together, and went on the set.
With him on board, I now needed a producer who I found in the graceful Roland Kemason. Even though he worked for a production house, he would find time to work personally one-on-one with me on the project, and I remember him gracefully and nicely reminding me all the time that we definitely needed millions to push through with the project.
When the project first came to me, the first thing was, I was like, okay, because the idea of the host was to really do a show, a talk show like you find everywhere around the world. And the challenging thing in our environment is always to be able to get not only the material that goes with it, but the adequate resources with the budget that is at hand. And also generally, presenters, when they have the idea, no matter how it goes, they don't like to leave anything go out of it, because our host, Mrs. Sabonta, is very meticulous with the things that she wants.
And when we were ready, I had to contact some people to do the pilot. That was in 2015. We needed our first 2 guests to do the first 2 episodes. And we got to one-time TV presenter JC Ekukole, and also to Venasio Stephon, whom I so thank today for accepting to give us exposure. Shooting on its own was not very easy. I remember that day we had planned to begin shooting at noon, so we had asked our guests to come at 12 midday. And just before 12 midday, my producer and director were calling me at the same time. They said there was an emergency. And when I got there, behold, the set we had done looked like a little hurt in the studio. And we had to start calling in carpenters to do in new backdrops. We had to call in painters to repaint the whole studio. And then we called our guests and asked them to come at 4. Even at 4 p.m. when they arrived, we were not ready. I remember that they were also shooting another TV show of mine reserved for Christian doctrine and choral music, the Christ and I TV show, and members of my choir, the Singing Out Gospel Choir. So we were a total of about 50 people who slept in the studio that day. We came at, some people were there as early as 6 a.m., and we left 6 a.m. the next morning. It was not an easy day, but by the grace of God, we were able to make it through.
It wasn't easy on the first day, especially that everybody was getting used to what was to be done. But at the end of the day, it was what I always call a bitter fun. And today, we are happy it is coming out strong.
So, shooting was over that day. And the next thing we needed to do was to give our show an online presence. And I was introduced to Akere Smith, an IT guru, and before we ever met, as soon as I called him, he started working on the show. He started working on the website and online visibility before I ever met him or even gave him a franc because of his belief in the project.
And one day I was in my office, I got a phone call from a lady, Mirabelle, and she told me about this project, Shine Africa, and she talked me into the project, and I got interested. The moment we spoke, and I got to like her ways. You know, I decided to start the project without her giving me any franc. So we began the project. You know, we had a couple of meetings. We had you know, we designed the logo. So today we have Shine Africa live on shineafrica.org, and on Shine Africa you can get a lot of feedback from what's happening in Cameroon, from artists, you know, musicians, those who are creating real impact in Cameroon. So join Shine Africa and be a part of this great community.
It has not been an easy time. We've had quite many challenges, some of them being the fact that we're trying to work on the show every day, and also working on my presentation.
It's been a very exciting and thrilling experience working on this production, despite a few problems we encountered. Maybe I should start by exposing the most salient problems we had. I will have to evoke the problem of having resource persons participate on the show. It seems recurring amongst a lot of the resource persons we targeted to either have a very tight schedule or to not wish to appear on TV or on public shows. So we had quite a lot of difficulties. We had some difficulties, I wouldn't say quite a lot. We often had some difficulties having certain resource persons on set. Not often due to their will or bad faith, but most often because of their schedule or for professional reasons. That said, some other issues we had was having certain artists we'd have loved to have on the show. Some of the artists we projected having on the show had very tight schedules, and it was usually not very easy having them on time to participate on the show. But so far we've been having very good ones as well, and I will seize this opportunity to send a shout out to most uprising artists that we are open, and what counts most is the quality of their music. If you think you're very talented and you would love to share your music with the rest of the world, we invite you to visit our Facebook page, maybe drop your YouTube link so that we can check what you have, and then subsequently have you on the program. Well, I seize the occasion to give a big shout out to the prominent artists in Cameroon who are pushing the art scenery, the music industry forward. We've often had difficulties fitting them in our schedule due to their tight schedule.
Working on this show is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because I work with some younger people, and generally the respect they have for what I do makes it so that transmission of idea is wonderful. And a lot of fun because our host, who is also the executive producer, she always has this way of bringing you to do things even when you really feel tired. Some of these shows we did them right up to about 2 a.m. in the night, and we just needed to encourage one another because sometimes you look at her, she looks worn out, you can't force it, but you just have to see how you cheer everybody up. And at the end of the day, we are just happy that the thing worked out the way we want.
And the good moments, well, quite a lot of them. I have a lot of good memories working on the production. You know, being at the unique position where you have first-hand experience with resourceful persons, being at the forefront of infotainment, and though working, learning in the process. I would say we've been chanced and lucky enough and really blessed to have a lot of very resourceful persons this far. I mean, if you watch most of the shows, you'll see the quality of the guests we've had on the show. And working on the production, I mean, there is this proximity to them that gives me a lot of possibilities. Listening to them, learning from their experiences, and hopefully growing from what they come to share with us.
Our desire is to move Africa forward and also to put Cameroon on African television. We don't have as much content of Cameroon on African television as we should, and so that's our vision, to put Cameroon on African television. That's part of the change of the name from Time with Mirabel to Shine Africa. To serve Africa better, we are going Africa.
With the new orientation that the show is taking, Shine Africa takes up a step forward. Today, we are even again more under pressure, because the idea today is right from the introduction to the closing of the show, we must bear in mind that we are in a Pan-African setup. The kitchen, everything that is being said must align with the Shine Africa team, because we've got calls from all over the world and our fellow African brothers who are really enjoying themselves. So we wanted to make it such that we receive the nationals of all of these other countries, and then we talk about things that are culturally viable to Africans around the world. So today the show becomes Shine Africa and puts us in a place where we need to do a little bit more to be able to satisfy our viewers. And I'm very optimistic and hopeful that you will enjoy it. For every production, we always prepare the shootings about 3 weeks ahead. We need to have themes, we need to prepare the guests, we need to get the musicians that go with that particular show. We need to make sure that everything fits in place, and especially that we know that our viewers are worldwide. So let it be somebody who is in Ghana, in Gabon, in Central African Republic, or overseas. They have to be able to identify with what we're doing. So we just need to make sure that nothing is missing, no ingredient is missing out of this general package.
It is my hope that this show goes as long as I live. I was amazed when my 5-year-old daughter came to me saying like, Mama, I will present your show when you become a grandma. And so I took her for her word. Every recording or every meeting concerning the show, I just go with her, pretty much like preparing her to take over from me when the time comes. I must say a very big thank you to Dream Multimedia, to my director Neba Lawrence, and my producer Kemasong Roland, and to the entire crew. I think I've been very blessed to have a special crew, and it's our hope to go places with this show.
Time with Mirabel becomes Shine Africa. Same slot, same host, same calabash, but much more African gifts. Lots of fun and even more perks, plus a whole new African content.
Besides the tensions and politics in Africa, we create a relaxed atmosphere and tell the stories behind the people making news.
Feel the warmth of the fun-filled host and take home awesome gifts and uncountable selfies. Shine Africa, moving forward.